Hi everyone, my name is Zard and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be taking a look at set 75357. This is the Ghost and Phantom 2 from the Ahsoka show. Of course, the original Ghost released when the first season of Rebels was coming out, featured as Rebels characters, Kanan, Hera, Zeb, and a Stormtrooper. And this one is an Ahsoka set, so it features Ahsoka characters or characters that were in the Ahsoka show, including some Rebels characters like Chopper, Jason, and Hera. So I'll take a closer look at this set now. So here's the Ghost and Phantom 2. It has 1,394 pieces, which I believe is a few hundred pieces more than the last one. And it's sort of, it's bigger in some ways than the last one, and in some ways not. It's got 5 characters, 2, I guess, lesser known ones with First Officer Hawkins, right there, and in the New Republic fighter outfit, Lieutenant Beta, which is the same torso and leg printing used on Lieutenant Porter or Captain Porter from the New Republic E-Wing set. The other characters are Jason, Syndulla, Chopper, and then for sure the highlight of this set, minifigure-wise for me, Hera Syndulla. I love Hera. I love Chopper too, but in this case, the Hera minifigure I just think is an amazing one. I love Hera's outfit in the show. There's something about the jacket that I just really like. I like this Chopper minifigure as well, just not as much as the last one. So the set being named the Ghost and the Phantom 2 has the Ghost and the Phantom 2. The Phantom 2 can detach from it, and you have your small little Phantom 2. Of course, the last time the ship released, it was in a full-sized set that had Thrawn, Blind Kanan, and Chopper. This time it's a smaller one that can attach to the Ghost, which I believe the last one did as well. It's just a lot smaller, and then you can see what is left to be exposed. The only thing that I'll get a closer look at in there that you really don't love to see in there is the brown Technic pin, but other than that, you don't really see all too much. So I'll take a closer look at the build now, then the minifigures, and then give you my final thoughts on this set. So here is the Ghost, one of the more colorful ships in the Star Wars universe, and for sure to light up your Star Wars collection, which would generally be filled with your grays. So the smaller ship here, the Phantom 2, I think is a solid small build for the Phantom 2. It has a ton of stickers too right there on either side there. One at the back there, a couple, 3 more there, one at the front. To open this up, you just pull down there and you have a really small seating area, a little console there that's a little bit harder to see, but you can see it once you take off that screen, and of course popping that off in the process. Really, I believe the only minifigure you can fit in it is Jason. And of course, if you wanted to, you could also click Chopper's head on those studs, which I think is a cool inclusion. I'd love to see a full-size version of the Phantom, a remade full-size version of the Phantom 2 in the future. I think it's a really cool ship, a really cool shaped ship, a cool colored ship, and it would be a nice one to include some characters that you'd want in the Ahsoka show, like Ahsoka, for example, in a cheaper set, because Ahsoka is in a $100 set right now. Of course, that is the cheapest from the wave, but I'm sure in the future you'd want to get that Ahsoka minifigure in a cheaper set. So taking a look at the Ghost here, one of my favorite parts has to be the back of it here. Those engines just look amazing. Around the sides, the detailing is really quite well done. There's not too many stickers here at the front. This dish here is printed. The one there is a sticker, I guess the gunner seat. There with the gun as well as spring-loaded shooters at the back. On the bottom, you can see sort of the inner workings of the set and the solid structure. This is a very solid model, and I'm a great playset then. You do have some doors right at the side that you could fit a smaller minifigure or a droid like Chopper or Jason down the stairs, or display minifigures at the base of the stairs as well. I think these areas right here, which I believe are meant to be escape pods, which I believe were a lot bigger on the last one and sort of did function as escape pods, look quite good. Of course, they're not as big or can't fit a minifigure in this case. To get into the inside, you've got to take this top bit off, where you do have a spot where I guess you can sort of, I didn't really realize this before, but you can actually fit a minifigure up there. You've got a gun there that can just move up and down, a sticker right there. It attaches quite easily on there, and you have a lot of floor space in this set, which I think is great. I love ships like this, play sets like this, where you have a lot of space for minifigures. The cockpit there is a really nice built area. This one might even be nicer using that Inquisitor lightsaber hilt piece. It's quite a cool building technique used. And I think the Ghost build is quite nice. It, just like that, it attaches really quite easily. And same for the Phantom, which attaches really just as easy as the section. You can, I guess, take these panels off if you want. They don't really reveal anything. But I think the detailing on this is really quite well done. And I think the colors look quite nice, and it's just a really well-built playset, and I'd love to see a UCS version of this, where maybe you could get some of the bunks and some other cool details from Star Wars Rebels. I think that would be a really nice set where you could include sort of the Millennium Falcon route, where you can include some figures from Ahsoka and then some from Rebels. I think it's a really nice build, and I think the minifigures, which I'll take a look at now, complement it pretty well. Of course, they and relate to the scenes you've seen with the Ghost perfectly. The characters themselves just might not be overly interesting, except for Hera, which I think is an amazing minifigure. But I'll take a look at those now. So the first minifigure I'll take a look at here is First Officer Hawkins. Not an overly interesting character, but of course a choice that makes sense given the start of the show, which these sets are based on. I think the outfit here is a good replication of the New Republic officer outfits, and being how the printing is done here, it really allows you to customize these figures. If for some reason you bought more of this $200 set, you could make more officer minifigures, or just buy a bunch of this guy and you can switch out whichever face prints and hands you'd like, and you can get a bunch of these officers. I think it's a good replication of the character, just not an overly interesting character, but also a character that makes sense given what it's based on. I love getting cool alien species in LEGO Star Wars sets, cool molded heads, and this one is no different. The Mon Calamari here with Lieutenant Beta is a cool minifigure. The torso as well as leg printing is the same as the other New Republic pilot from the New Republic E-Wing. I think the head print is nice. The printing on the helmet, that is quite nice. The mold is the same as other Mon Calamari that we have seen. Of course, we did see this guy appear sort of just in the background, but it makes sense. It makes sense to include this. These, once again, are based off like those first couple episodes. I'm assuming LEGO got that information and they got characters like this, so it certainly makes sense why you'd see a minifigure like this and not maybe like a minifigure like Carson Tavo, which would be a really cool inclusion, but makes sense that they wouldn't really have knowledge on the character appearing. But I wonder if we see him in the future, because he's honestly appeared in the show more than I thought he would when he first showed up. I feel like these are a decent pairing here, Chopper and Jason. Chopper is my favorite war criminal. He is amazing, and I love him to death. I'm half the time pretty sure that he's telling you to go fuck off, but I love Chopper. This Chopper minifigure, I don't think I love. I love the older version, but I think this one has some really cool aspects of it. The back printing on Chopper is a really cool inclusion. Same for the back head printing. The smaller legs are nice as well. The printing is nice. I just think having the white body just looks a bit weird. Same for the lighter orange color, which is, when I first saw the minifigure, I thought it was just the white that sort of threw me off. But I think it's that orange that I couldn't tell before actually getting the minifigure. That's really what threw me off, and I really like the dark orange that they used on the previous version. I think Jason's torso print is quite nice. The face print, I think, fits as well. The hairpiece, I don't think, is the best, but the biggest issue with this Jason minifigure is the hair color. It's wrong. I think they're decent minifigures, but not the best, and if we ever get him again, I'm assuming they would fix it and give him a green hairpiece. The highlight of this set, minifigure-wise, for me, is Hera Syndulla. General Hera Syndulla. I absolutely love this minifigure. I think the torso printing is great, the leg printing is great. This might be my favorite LEGO Star Wars minifigure of the year. It doesn't have dual molded legs or arm printing, but I absolutely love it. I loved it when I first saw the leaked image, and I continue to now. She's got a small blaster there. I love Hera's jacket in this series, and I think it's replicated here quite well. Save for the leg printing, there's some back torso printing as well as printing there on the headpiece. The goggles are also printed on the top, which is probably for me the only more awkward part of this set. They just seem really high up there. Hera's got two expressions, a more angry expression and that expression there. I think two fitting expressions for Hera. This is a dual molded piece. But yeah, I absolutely love this Hera minifigure, and it is the highlight of this set. Minifigure-wise, for me, the highlight of the set is definitely the build, but I think for minifigure-wise, this is my favorite and my favorite minifigure from the Ahsoka sets, and maybe even from the year. So that was my review of the Ghost in Phantom 2. I think it's a great set. I think the build is absolutely amazing, probably my favorite Star Wars set of the year. I think the minifigures are solid. I think Hera really brings up the minifigure value there for me. But the other four, Jason, he has an inaccurate hair color. That's just, it is what it is. There's not much more you can say. The minifigure's alright, it's just he has an inaccurate hair color. I don't believe Chopper is as good as the last version, and as good quality minifigures as the other two are. I really, to be blunt here, I just don't give a shit about First Officer Hawkins and Lieutenant Beta. Whereas if you look at the previous Ghosts, of course you had one less minifigure. You got a Stormtrooper, a Rebels Stormtrooper, which I guess aren't the most interesting thing, but you got Kanan, Zeb, and Hera. Of course, in the Rebels case, that makes sense to get those figures. It doesn't make as much sense here. But I think this is a perfect set for the build portion of it for Rebels fans as well as Ahsoka fans. I think for Rebels fans, if you don't have that last Ghost, I think the build is absolutely amazing and an improvement on the previous one. And if you want to get your Rebels characters without buying that older Ghost, you can just get this set. Cost either like $200, and then you can get some Rebels figures. They're not all too expensive. Of course, they seem to continually rise, and I believe Zeb currently is probably the most expensive of those crew. Of course, it depends where you go. If you want Blind Kanan, that's more expensive than just your basic Kanan. And if you want a helmeted Ezra instead of a non-helmeted Ezra, that's going to be more. If you want Sabine with her helmet, that's going to be a whole lot more than just Sabine that came in the Advent calendar or later season Sabines without her helmet. Even that outfit that she does have the helmet, the figure that didn't come with the helmet. So there's a lot of combinations where you could get those Rebels figures to put on a display with this Ghost. I think it's a really good set. It's a really amazing build, and I definitely recommend it if you're still on the fence on whether or not you want to pick it up.